issue.
All right. So welcome, Terry.
Me wanting to
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm well.
Great. So tell us a little bit about why did you go into social work?
Why I went into social work? Basically, because I wanted to contribute more to all of the issues that I saw growing up in Baltimore.
I'm sorry, guys. We're having a little technical
Technical.
difficulties.
Yeah.
If you just bear with us, we're going to get this squared away so we can get started with this interview.
okay. Right. So basically, one of these. Could you?
All of my phones is
Mine is down. I don't hear echo anymore.
they can hear me.
I know. One of y'all uses me, right?
Mhm.
So one of these turn. That's it. Tap this one for me. All right. And what's this one?
This one's not the one. This is on Facebook.
Right. I'm not streaming out there at all.
No,
I am definitely
I
not.
ain't close enough to it, 1,000.
Mhm.
You know, I ain't close to 1,000.
Huh? Okay.
I can still hear the echo.
So
Is it coming through the?
headphones? Not turning them down. Where's that one coming from?
Did you see yourself?
Yeah, I'm always in my eye.
How you
My
looking at it?
child.
How'd you see it?
Because I can see it from the glass.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. Okay, so I decided to become a social worker after seeing some of the ills that went on in our neighborhood and not seeing too many people really interested, not really interested in what exactly, how to actually make a difference. I hear it over there. So, yeah. that was one of the things that
So the echo coming from the outside.
mhm, made an impact for me. And like I said, I spoke with a young man that was in the social work program at Morgan State. And when he asked me, well, what are you going to do? If you said you're only going to do 1 year here, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I guess I'll go to University of Baltimore because my mother was going there for sociology. And he's like, sociology? No, not sociology. And he said, based on all of the things that we've spoken about and you shared, and he said, you're a social worker. So he educated me more. The reason why I had, and I've shared this story a couple times, the reason why I had this bad,
Mm-hmm. The reason why you had, catch yours down, the reason why you had,
it's almost over there.
So
That's
mutual.
okay.
Go ahead.
So what happened basically was I had to kind of dispel for myself. It's like, so I had to dispel some of those things for myself that I had come up on based on what my mother's experience had been when she was in foster care. She had been in foster care her entire life. And what I wound up finding out in my first class, which was a policy class with Cottrell Wesson, best social work professor in the world, was that actually it wasn't a social worker that was involved. A lot of the people did not have training in social work, and so that was one of the things. It kind of softened for my mother, not as much as it did for me, So over time, she got to see the work that I was doing and how my ethics mattered and how I really tried to do my best to protect kids. But I had to let her know some children, they need to be out of the home, and not all social workers are the social workers that take children out of the home. We work really hard to have things in place to support the family so the children won't have to be removed from the home. But would you rather have a child in a home that's being abused constantly, even with the support, or have the child be placed with a family member or someone last resort outside of the family that will actually take care of the child? Because I think a lot of times, and when we get into my book and all of that, we worry a little bit too much to me about the adults. We're worrying about what impact it's going to have on adults and if they're going to have a record of that. And all of that's important, of course. But if you're harming the child,
that's right.
My first mind and my heart is for the child because they cannot defend themselves.
Right.
And even if that adult that may be in a bad place may have, a pretty
hurt people.
Right, may have a pretty high adverse childhood,
ACEs score.
Adverse childhood experience score. Yeah, they might have a high one because of how they were treated. We can do that, but we have to take care of that child first.
That's right.
Get the safety of the child first, and then in tandem help the parent get support or whatever. So I think that that's one of the things I strongly believe in: prevention over. My saying is prevention over intervention. So
all right, say that one more time. That's powerful.
Prevention over intervention.
Yeah.
Right now the buzzword, I say, what is it, sexy or something? Everyone's talking about trauma now. Trauma is not new. And so everyone's talking about let's do trauma informed care, let's do enhanced cultural trauma experiences, and all of those different things, and that's great. But what about actually preventing it from happening? What about preventing it from happening? So that's what Body Safety Zones BSC is about.
Awesome. So you got into it. When did you realize that you really wanted to put that emphasis on children, though?
My whole life has been about children. Even when I was a child, I was the one that tried to, like my cousin Natia, poor Natia. She was like my baby doll, So even though she was about the size of me as a baby, they have a picture of us under this big long table, and I had laid out a blanket, and I had her toys and my toys, and I was taking food from off the table, and someone snapped a picture of us, and she was
4 years older than her, but I was so little.
Mhm.
I looked like I was about 2. And it's a picture of us, and I'm like acting like I'm reading to her and playing with her, and I was a baby myself.
Wow.
So I've always been someone that felt like I was supposed to protect children, and I think that that's just something I got from my great grandmother, Rhoda Jones.
Which you have a scholarship in her name.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So when did we start? It's been, I think this is going on now 6th or 7th year. It's my great grandmother. She was an autodidact. She taught herself how to read, how to write,
Wow.
how to play the piano. She grew up in Chestertown, down Eastern Shore, and the book that she valued the most was the book, the first book, the Bible. So that was her. That was her book. That's what she read to me when I would stay with her at night. And so, how befitting, she never had a chance to go to college. So, she wanted me to get my doctorate. I tried, but I dropped out. But I have a book scholarship where young people that are going to college, just to pay for some books. They're so expensive now. So
Yes.
I pray one
It's such
day.
a blessing though, because like you said, it is expensive, and it's like one little thing off of their many items list
Yeah.
of having to pay for.
Yeah, so that's just to keep her legacy going. It's not too much information that we really have about her. So I try to continue. It's an African saying that as long as you speak the ancestors' name, they, I'm paraphrasing, they forever live. So
Mm.
everyone I meet, if I have a more than 5-minute conversation with them, I try to find a way to wiggle Rhoda Lee Jones' name in to keep her
Awesome.
going.
Awesome. And my daughter was able to take advantage of that wonderful scholarship.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we have Janine Faulkner. How you doing, Janine? One of our EWBI sisters tuning in.
Hi,
Mia
Janine.
Orange. Hi, Mia. We have done under them Miss Dondra. And thank you guys for being so patient with us through all of our trials today. I think Cassandra said it best. She said that devil is busy working. Jaconda is watching. Hey, Jaconda. Let's see. And we have Nichelle Jones Johnson. She says that that's all right. It will come together. Yes. So I'm not sure what she was talking about, but yes, it always comes together for the good as long as God is a part.
That's
So,
right.
and
He's
she
all
said,
up in this.
so Nichelle said, "Hey Terry Wap."
Hey, Wap sister.
Yeah, so that's amazing. But to just get back, let's talk a little bit. Let's move to your book.
Okay.
Because this book is so amazing. I was able to buy one for my G baby. And the book is Body Safety Zones. So tell us what
BSZ. That's the whole title.
BSZ. So tell us about this Body Safety Zone book.
So body safety zones. I'll share with you guys the 3 M's of that's Miss Be Persistent. She's the main character. The 3 M's of body safety zone. It's my ministry. It's my mission, and it's the message that I'm trying to spread across. The whole idea is to educate children, bring about awareness in a way that is on their level. So basically, the story is a synopsis, like a bridge version of the things that I actually have done with some, my kids over the years. And so it just tells the story of Miss B Persistent. She's a school social worker, and she has a wellness and awareness and wellness health class that she shares with the children. And she teaches them not just about body safety zones, but in this book, it's just about body safety zones. But in real life, it's about social emotional learning, right? So one of the things is that, yes, we do talk about the different body parts, but I don't name them. So I put them in zones, and there are 4 zones.
Okay.
And the 4 zones is 1 is the mouth, 2 is the chest for girls and for boys, because some people don't realize for some reason that that's an erogenous zone also for males. And then the bottom front, and then the back bottom. And what I encourage in the back of the book, I have a glossary, And I encourage parents to actually, in the glossary, I actually encourage parents to give the children a proper name. Don't call it your goodie box or your, I don't know, I didn't heard
Pocketbook.
your pocketbook. I
My,
didn't heard
my
some.
grandmother,
I
that's
didn't
what
heard.
she,
I've heard some.
it was
interesting
our
things.
pocketbook or our purse. You
Well-
gotta keep that pocketbook closed.
Well, I've heard one of the boys, he was in maybe kindergarten or first grade, said something about a good ball, a Mr. Goodball, and I said, a what? And I'm like, gee whiz, who? What? Why would? So I think that he might have heard mom and dad talking, and you know, that
Having
might be.
intimate moment.
Yeah,
or
so I
something.
was like, oh dear. So I said, you know, I've heard some things over the years, okay? And so, but the whole point is to make it something that is not uncomfortable to talk about.
Right.
Because, you know, I want people to understand, and I'm not trying to scare anyone, I'm just trying to enlighten them. What you won't talk to them about leaves them open for someone else to teach them how to groom them and have them open to being abused. That's what we will not tolerate at all. So you have
It's
to
so
educate
important.
them.
I'll never forget. So I'm significantly older than one of my family members, and we were having a discussion, and they said, "Yeah, my friend told me all about the birds and the bees,
Mhm.
and the worms, and they named some other insects and some other stuff, and and I was like, what? That is not the birds and the bees." So it is important, and I'm so glad that you decided to not only write a book, but she also did a coloring book and activity book. So for those parents who it's not an easy subject for them to bring up, they can read the book with the child, then do some activities with them, and that will help them to start that conversation. And you know, as I read in your bio, you started with your children as toddlers.
I started actually with them. I always tell people I started sex ed with my babies in the hospital. When I started naming their eyes and their nose the first day that I had them, my son was in NICU, so I couldn't do it with him. He was a few days old, but my daughter, she was only a few hours old. When I named her eyes and her nose and her mouth and everything else, I named every other part of her body. And I remember when she was in elementary school, and especially when she got into health class, I would receive frequent calls about, could you ask her just to, you know, just not share so much? And I said, not share what? She's sharing appropriately. She wasn't saying anything that was inappropriate. It was just that other kids weren't being educated. And I said, no, education, I will not teach my daughter, my black daughter, that her being educated is a problem.
That's
so
right.
you all going to have to figure it out. And so that's very important. And I can say from being able to volunteer this past fall, working with children from 3 to 8 at the Arena Players theater, that my youngest baby was 3 years old, and she could explain body safety zones to you better than I can.
Come on now.
Right? And not only could she explain that, she could tell you about internet etiquette and everything else. So it's a lot of things that spring off. And believe it or not, it's also about empowerment, because you're empowering the children to know that they have agency over their body.
Yes.
You know, I was saying is my body belongs to me. You don't have permission to touch me. And I teach them how to say that in a very assertive way. So they, no smiles on your face, you're looking the person dead in their eye. That doesn't guarantee that a child is not abused. But what I can tell you is that predators do not like children that will tell. They don't like children that know that what they're saying is not the truth. So I go in towards the back or maybe the last page, letting kids know that people that try to hurt children or that touch children, they're liars. They're going to tell you that they're not going to love you anymore, that they're going to hurt your family or your pet or what. They're going to tell you that because they're trying to get, you know, they're trying to get something from you. And I can tell you that they get it. They get it.
So, the children that you typically work with, have you ever, you know, been in a session and realized that maybe something's happened to this child? And what did you do?
Yeah. So when I've done it in group, and I've realized it, what I've done is that I've just kind of diverted the conversation. I've kept the child and I talked with them about it, and I let them know that it wasn't anything that they did wrong.
Knowledge is power, y'all.
Mhm.
So it's so important for us to make sure that we continue to have these conversations with our youth, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your child.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't.
No.
You know, you can still be respectful and still have a conversation to bring awareness, because the most important thing is for us to be proactive versus being reactive.
Definitely
Proactive. I'm
And
sorry,
that's
what did I
and
say?
that's and that's what prevention is. Prevention is being proactive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that a lot of times it's a lot of money in intervention. You know, it's a lot of money in that, because then you keep on having people that have to come back, and so you know, it kind of feeds the dragon or something. You know what I mean? You always can have that back.
Mm.
I'm not interested in that. I've told them, and unfortunately the time is steady going on. I'll be hitting 25 years, God willing, in this year coming up.
Y'all, she looked like she is 25. What is
Oh,
going on?
thank you. She likes to flatter. Thank you. But the thing is that I've told them, if I never had a career again in social work, because you all didn't have to go through the hell that I've seen, not just children, but the adults
Mm,
that I've worked with in the different settings that I've worked in,
right.
I would be okay with that. I don't know what I would do, but I would have to, finagle it and figure out something else. And I want to say that it has been the adults that I've worked with over these years that really made it important for me to write this book. Some of the folks that I worked with when I was working at Central Booking in Baltimore, hard, scary.
Mm,
And we would be talking, and all of them had to see the mental health person. And like 3 days later, we had to do a follow up, a 3-day follow up. And some of those guys, they would just break down and cry. And I mean murderers, rapists,
Hurt people.
right? And we can't afford, we literally cannot afford to allow our children and allow our families to continue to operate the way we have been operating. The pandemic I say not so tactfully, that I think the pandemic has caused a lot of people that were self-centered and arrogantly thought that nothing could happen, pull their head, the situation made them pull their heads out of their bum. They had no other choice. They had to sit with themselves. They had to sit with everything that was going on. And they realized, oh wow, this is an issue, or that's an issue. Well, guess what? Our children that are being abused and taken advantage of, now they're stuck with their abusers.
Mm.
So we're gonna wind up, unfortunately, having a lot of things from this pandemic, right, that we have to deal with. But I'm really concerned about our children that have not been educated. They don't know. And I even felt like that growing up. Like, I didn't really feel like my body actually belonged to me.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about necessarily in a sexual way. I'm saying that, I had to go. It was like sometimes you were physically moved or done, and I think that's why I'm like that now, where you can tell me, even if I'm getting my hair done, or like yesterday I had a mammogram, and the lady, I didn't realize that I was being triggered. She just kept on moving me instead of
Asking you
instead
to-
of just explaining to me how to move. And I my reaction in my mind wasn't cool, but I know that that's something that is a trigger,
Right.
So, seeing people in jail that have had horrible things happen to them, and they were children. And a lot of them, that I spoke with, they didn't abuse anyone else. You know what I mean? But they were out there trying to, in any way they could, by drugs, by stealing, by, beating someone up, robbing somebody, whatever. They were trying to feel like they were powerful, because that little boy wasn't, or that little girl wasn't healed. never got that, they never got nurtured, you know. So I've read my book to adults and that have a history, and they found it to be very, very
Mm.
helpful, very, very powerful.
So
So
why is ACEs so important?
why is it so important?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to know what, again, ACEs tells you about what has already happened and the impact that it has. If we educate ourselves about ACEs, then we can put things into place. Again, prevention of how to prevent those things from happening.
Mm.
So people can have low ACEs.
We're talking about prevention
Yeah,
again. See, the
right.
prevention is the key. So for those who don't know, ACEs is adverse childhood experiences.
Mhm.
Did you want to elaborate on that?
I mean, I can share some of the things. ACEs basically goes over like, have you had a separation due to divorce or due to, you know, something on a lower scale? Maybe a parent was in the hospital, to being in foster care, or a parent dying. Have you experienced other traumatic events such as being abused physically or emotionally or sexually? And so it has it, you score, and based on the score, it shows, you know, it gives a better indication of, I hate to say, you know, they really use it to see what you need, the intervention that you may need, hopefully.
Mm.
But a lot of people that had the ACEs, like I did my ACEs, and I was like, oh no, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh my. So I didn't even want to, you know, look at it, because I didn't realize that it was that high.
Wow.
So if we know about ACEs, if we're educated about it, if teachers know about ACEs, if other people that love children appropriately, because you have people that are sick that say that they love children.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not talking about that type of love. We're talking about real love, safe love.
Yes.
We can actually build preventions around that to prevent it. You know, and so again, just using this as a tool, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not easy trying to get this book out there. It hasn't been easy. I'm not quite sure why. And again, everything is it moves kind of slow when it's important to me. You know, you have all types of things that go viral, right?
Well, you know, the devil stay busy and he doesn't want the good stuff to get out.
Right.
But that was one of the reasons why I knew I had to have you on my show. I didn't know when, but I knew I wanted to have you on my show so we could tell about this amazing book. So anybody that's listening, tell them how they can get this book, coloring book, and
I wanted to share something else, because I don't have it on here.
she's so bossy, y'all. She come on my radio show telling me what she wants.
No. I'm gonna tell
I'm
her
just
about
teasing.
it.
I'm just
She has to do this, y'all. She's also my line sister, so this is like just so y'all know what the real deal is. I wanted to share because a lot of people don't know this, but actually we have memory game cards.
Oh,
in
nice.
here. So
Move it over.
Okay.
That way. There you go.
All right. So we have memory game cards, and it has all of the different bodies safety zones. It has the awareness ribbon in here. But the point of it was also in another way. All children don't learn the same way. So for them to actually play the memory the memory game card game, the memory card game.
There you
I
go.
couldn't get it. Yeah, you know, that also reinforces some things. But I have an Etsy shop, and it's persistence is the way. And so we have the activity coloring book, we have the hardcover, we have Miss Be Persistent, who's a school social worker, and we also have glow in the dark silicone bracelets. And I'm working on some merch, but the most important part for me is spreading the word about it, getting it. And if you don't have children, that's okay, because there's a whole bunch of children that can benefit from this. Proceeds from the 2 books goes towards the Rhoda Lee Jones, my great grandmother's book scholarship, and also programming.
Awesome.
And it's always a good idea, if you don't, you can buy, 2 or 10 for a child that is in foster care or in a homeless domestic violence shelter. And you can do it yourself, or I can gift it, but it is presented as a gift. not a donation. And if you want, I can explain why I like the idea of gifting it to them compared to a donation.
So if you would like to donate, I'm going to say tonight I am going to purchase 2 books and 2 coloring books so that and maybe 2 dolls. I gotta see.
Mhm.
But I'm going to make that purchase to send to some foster care youth.
Thank you.
So if you guys would like to do the same, you can inbox Terry. Or you can also send me a message. I'll get the information to her. But it's so important to bless our babies. They need it. And she talked about prevention, y'all. And this is a part of prevention, is giving them those tools so that they know what to do if they do get into a situation like that. You know, giving them the tools so they are aware and know their body parts and they understand what's going on. So if anybody would like to do so, they can even drop it here in the comment section, and Terry and I will check it out and get back to you. But Janine Faulkner said, "What a great resource for kids," and Jaconda Harrison said, "It's awesome." If you guys have any questions for Terry, don't hesitate to share them right now, because we're going to get ready to end this segment and we're going to go to another segment which has a huge impact on our future, our youth. And that is, I know it's been all over the news, and that's one of the reasons why I really felt compelled to talking about it. So, Terry, we're gonna close out with you. You want to share your information. Make sure don't forget your social media platforms so that people can like and share and tell all their friends and families that have children that they can come and purchase. And not only that, but you can also share with other people that they can, gift it to some foster kids as well, or some, youth and homeless shelters, because we got to get this book in all of our youths hands so that we can make sure that they are being informed and educated and bringing awareness.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to look here in the cheat. I'm on Instagram as Persistence is the Way. And then I'm on Facebook as Persist T, and then the number 1. And I'm on Twitter as Persistence is T1. My Etsy shop again is Persistence is the Way.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Awesome.
we definitely want to make sure that children know that they have power over their body, and it's just not about, you don't just start off saying, okay, well, these are the 4 body systems. You let them know that if maybe mama or someone wants a kiss, if they don't want a kiss, don't make the babies kiss someone. Don't make them hug people and sit on their lap. It starts there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to desensitize them to responding to adults what the adult wants. You can always teach them to be respectful. But if they don't want to give someone a kiss, or sit on someone's lap, definitely not sitting on a lap, a hug.
Especially,
anything.
like little girls just having their legs are over top of people legs a certain kind of way. It's just so that was just like a no thing in our house.
Right.
So
but the thing is that it was, and that's another show. But but it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy. That's the whole thing. It's teaching them.
Yeah.
It's teaching
that's
them.
true.
And in the book, one of them, one of the characters says something about the chest, and then the other one says, "Well, wait a minute. Does that mean that someone can touch the boy's chest just because he's a boy?" And so, Miss B persistence let them know that's a good point. Absolutely not.
That is.
That is, you know what I mean? So I think that they are a lot of, in particular, men of color that are suffering in silence.
Yeah.
Because maybe you are gay, which that's not a horrible thing, but you maybe get this and that, and they're worried about, or in the Latino or Latinx trying to keep up community, the machismo. So they worry about being identified as something that is seen as undesirable when they had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? They had nothing to do with that. So it's a lot of education that we as adults, we have to start with ourselves 1st. I definitely suggest anyone that gets it, like, you read it first, even though I do a little something special. I won't share, but I do something special with the books that people purchase from me. So after you let the child open it, you know, maybe you read it first to really get an idea. But it's done in a fun way. I use movement as a way to just kind of get them relaxed. So that's the first thing we do. We get our wiggles out, and we dance to a really cool 70s songs that I loved when I was little. And the kids have a lot of fun, and they kind of are open. And then we sit in a circle and we get to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Carol.
Well, you're not going nowhere yet.
I know,
we
but thanks for having me come on and talk about my book, babies.
You are so welcome. You're so
appreciate
welcome.
that.
And tell them one more time how they can get in contact with you.
I'm on IG as Persistence is the Way, and then my Etsy shop is also Persistence is the Way. And I'm on Twitter as Persistence is T, like Terry 1, and Facebook is Persistence T Terry 1.
Awesome. So make sure you check Terry out. This is amazing book that can help our youth. We're gonna I just want you to keep it locked. We're gonna be right back. So keep it locked to Empowered Women in Business International Radio.
Unnerving and remarkable scenes of chaos on the doorstep of the home of American democracy. Angry supporters of the president advancing on the Capitol. USA! USA! Tensions escalating quickly.
Security had closed off this area of the Capitol, but after those protesters pushed their way through a gate, they made their way up here to the steps and even climbed some of the bleachers set up for inauguration, prompting a heavy response from police.
Officers tried to push back, firing pepper bullets into the agitated crowd. Trump supporters only grew bolder, and police lost control. They forced their way into the building. Outnumbering the officers inside, they seized this sacred space, leading to unimaginable scenes and violence. One woman was shot and killed, and several police officers were hurt. It took the president more than 2 hours to tweet his first call for calm. Considered a slow response since these people listened to him and genuinely believe his false claims the election was stolen.
We want Trump! We want Trump!
I'm distressed. We shouldn't be here at this, having this kind of discussion in this country.
We are coming!
A claim he knows infuriates his base, a claim he repeated at a rally this morning.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
This will be remembered as a brutal day for American democracy, making the transition of power all the more difficult for the incoming president.
Welcome back to Empowered Women in Business International Radio. So we have everyone, you have to be like under a rock if you have not seen what's going on in our world today. So we just wanted to have a little discussion about that because actually since Trump has been in office, you know, COVID struck and that wasn't taken care of properly. You know, so many people had to die before he even wanted to tell people to wear a mask. He tried to eliminate the Affordable Care Act. Trump's tax bill provided an 83% tax benefit to the wealthiest 1% of the United States. What do you think about everything that's going on, Terry?
I think it's a circus. You know, I thought that they did away with the Ringling Brothers, Bond and Bailey. And so I guess they decided to go with Donald Trump Incorporated Circus or something. It is a disgrace. It's an embarrassment. I usually don't, you know, get caught up. I cannot be embarrassed. But guess what? I'm embarrassed for the Americans that can be embarrassed. It is a pure disgrace. I really think in this guy's mind that he believes that he is on a TV show with the biggest ratings and viewers in the world. Everything is so enormous. It's going to be the biggest. And you're not on TV. You're dealing with lives.
Yeah.
I think that he is a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not diagnosing him officially, so don't come for my license. But he has very narcissistic ways.
Yes, definitely.
He has very antisocial and sociopathic ways. And unfortunately, people are under him, so they have to deal with his nonsense. When you do not check a narcissist, this is what you get.
You know, the crazy thing is sitting back and watching, and you see people resigning 2 weeks before you get ready to lose your job anyway.
Right.
That does nothing for me. You don't get
Right.
any credit for resigning 2 weeks before you lose your job.
So remember in the first segment when I was saying something about the pandemic kind of forced people to take their head out of their rump. So Trump, here, rump and Trump. Okay,
Right.
stay with me. Trump losing because they arrogantly thought that like he really was going to win. But he only was in office, in my opinion. This is only my opinion, right? Not professionally. He was only in office to show everyone what you do not do ever with anything. Whatever you could think of that you're not supposed to do, Trump is an example of that. Okay? I'm serious. Tanning, okay? The way you enunciate words, anything.
Wearing a toupee.
Wearing a toupee, wearing your tight suit, pants and everything. Anything that you're not supposed to do, this man is the epitome of it. Okay, he's the exemplar of that. That's one. Two, he has made one of the so-called power houses and power countries historically, okay, look like a joke. A joke. How do you come back from that? How do you come back from that? He is the antithesis of Barack Obama. He was so, and also it shows the country just how upset people are when a black man or a half black man is in power. People lose their freaking mind. I don't know what they're gonna do when our Greek sister Kamala, when she they're gonna really lose it. Oh my God, a woman, Indian, Jamaican woman. But she kind of looked black though, so you know what I mean. Oh no, not a black one, because you know we are the beasts and birds of the world. So, oh my God, they just really gonna lose their mind. Who knows what's happening? They threatening all types of terrorism. They've already displayed domestic terrorism.
They said in our 50 states, we all have to be on watch between now and the 24th, because they have already said that, you know. I guess one of my biggest problems is that we have people in place for a reason. Mm-hmm. And when you have people in place, then I just say, am I asking too much for you to do your job? So the FBI told them that this was going to happen, and everyone failed to listen. Then they saw the people on the steps and coming closer, and they continue to fail to listen, understanding that the Capitol had not enough police on scene for them to fight off the amount of people that they had. Unacceptable.
So I'll say this, people, you know, it's like with anything, you make time, right? You make time for what's important. You provide resources. This is the United States of America. You provide resources for what you find important. He sent out from before this man was even elected, he sent out his racist bat symbol to all of the wackadoos. Okay, again, I'm not speaking now as a social worker, y'all. So he really did. In the bunkers, in the basement, underneath in their rabbit hole, peeking out, you know, wondering when apocalypse now is gonna happen. His racist bat symbol, he sent that out before he even started running. When he started the nonsense about forever President Barack Obama not being a United States citizen. And he was allowed, you know why? Because he was saying stuff that other people wanted to say. You know, but no one took into consideration, dude does not know what he's doing. He's always filing for bankruptcy. He does not handle things responsibly. But we're gonna give him
the United
States budget. You're gonna make him the
But
chief,
he said it. He said he said the only people would be dumb enough to elect me is the Republican, because he wasn't a Republican. He was not in the Republican Party. He said he changed just so he could run for office, and he said they would be the only ones dumb enough to allow him to do it. So, you know, they wanted us out so bad that this was what they decided they wanted to allow in. So Cassandra Ferguson said, everything rises and falls on leadership, says Dr. John Maxwell. She also went on to say he was fueling the fire. He was. He stood there. He told them, he said, we're going to walk on down, march on down there to the Capitol. And we're going to just march on down there to the Capitol. And he didn't say you guys. He said we.
Right. The thing is that he fueled the fire. Please, he sat up there and gave them the space to put the wood. Okay. He added some, you know, accelerant, and he threw the match. You know, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And I don't think it's a matter of the Republicans being stupid. I really believe that it was something that they thought strategically they was going to be able to hold. You cannot control or harness a madman. You cannot. So really, and what does this show? I like to talk to kids all the time, like with the debate and everything. Oh, I wish I could have filmed that. But the kids always are correcting him. You had little 4, 5, 6-year-olds talking about how you're not supposed to talk over other people, or how they never understand why is he so mad all the time when he talks. Why is he so mad? So you have our children seeing this person. We're trying to teach them not to bully, and he's bullying everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going for a dictatorship.
Let me tell you something. If you did not agree with what he said, it was a problem. You were going to get fired or you were going to be dealt with. You have to agree with him, and that's unacceptable.
Look what he did to the different governors, okay? How he made them compete during the pandemic. Who does that? You know? The pandemic, you know, that didn't even exist. It was fake news. It was fake news. So there's a lot of things, you know, when you want to talk about mental health, he is a great example of, again, remember what I said about him. He is the opposite, like, you know, he's what you don't do. He's the example of everything that's not supposed to be. So his mental health is not the best because he's so narcissistic.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
He's so narcissistic. And they're trying to act like he's crazy. No, he's not. He's not crazy. He's entitled. He is entitled. He has never been probably told no, right? He is a homophobe. He's a xenophobe. He is a misogynist. And, you know,
if you just think about him.
And there's some sketchy things in terms of the age of different women that he's been with. Okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't have too much for him. And it just shows how ridiculous people that went out and voted. And I want to just throw this in because I help register folks. And I remember young people telling me about how they not going to do this and they not going to do that, and how we think, older Black people think that Barack Obama doing it. I want to, one little girl, I hope she still works at the restaurant that I was at when I was doing it, because I want to ask her, how do you think things are now? Do you think that if Obama is supposed to be at the World Court and sitting in front of the tribunal, I want definitely ahead of the class and ahead of the line, I want Trump there in flaming droves, okay? Because it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. And when you don't vote, that's why I'm so proud of people that came out to vote. When you don't vote, regardless of who you vote for, you already, that he won because of the people that didn't vote.
But that's how you let your voice be heard. And Georgia has spoken.
Oh my goodness.
And
Georgia
so now,
rocks.
yeah.
And Sister Abram. Yes.
Yes, she was amazing. But so one of the other things, I just kind of want to shift, still talk about that, but shift a little bit. I want to talk about accountability. And the reason why I want to talk about accountability is, when I think about things, if I don't do my job correctly, what happens? You get fired, right? If you don't do your job correctly, what happens? You get what?
I'm done.
Fired. Why are we allowing so many people to be able to retire, to be able to take their pension and go on with their lives like they did nothing, like they had nothing to do with this? When you think about the chief of the Capitol, and I heard that he was retiring, I was outraged. Where is the outrage from us? Not enough is being said. You should not be allowed to retire when you allowed those racist people to allow people into the Capitol. I was watching some of the video and I saw the police and they basically just stood there and the guy was like banging out the window and he was just standing there like the guy was just having a conversation with him.
Because they are a reflection and a mirror of the power structure and the power infrastructure in this country, right? So everyone kind of kowtows to the white man, right? Because that's historically who the power player has been, right? So it's okay. But if
of course, but because they not thugs.
No,
because what do Trump say? The thugs that be out there.
So no,
he talking about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, they're more so than thugs because they're barbarian, and guess what? They have historically been barbaric. Because any place that you have historically where people like that have been, just look at not only colonialism but what imperialism has done. Any place that they have been, people that had that mentality. Okay, so get me right. Not white men with that mentality.
That's right.
Have destroyed nations. Okay? So I never buy into that, and I even teach the children that, and I've gotten in trouble. You need to know your history so you can actually know what you come from. Don't buy into slavery here, this, that, and the other. You have to consider the source. That's one thing my mother taught me. Consider the source. So if you are a hot, saucy mess with jalapenos all around you, like Doe Orange
Cruz.
Boy. No, Doe, Trump. Him, why are you really taking him serious? I see people getting so worked up over him. He is a joke to me. I honestly have not. He just gives me a headache because of his talking, but I have not found myself actually being angry over it because I want to know all these woke people that's talking about they so woke. Are you really woke? Because to me, you've been asleep because none of the things that have happened in these last 4 years are different. Just because you don't hear the racist calling you the N-word in the forest doesn't mean that he isn't saying it. Wake up, people.
That's
really
right.
Wake up.
Yeah. Look at Cruz and Josh Hawley.
The two constitutional.
What he do?
Oh yeah, and he thinks that he's going to be able to actually run for president. But maybe he will with his little tight pants. I don't know. But the thing is that all of these symbolisms, all of these different gestures, they're getting their point across, and we need to understand our point. And can I just draw something real quick? That's exactly why people of color, women, like your organization, but women, we need to stop really saying it because again, I should be sold out. I know that you are an author. I guess you're an author, so I still gotta get my book. But we should be sold out of our stock right now. All of this buying black, this and that. I go into buying black. They be ignoring me. I made a post about some snowballs, and I got more views and everything else than anything else. I want us to stop. I want us to stop buying into situations where people really believe. I had a young man tell me, a business owner, that he had a book up on his counter in his store, and he put $50 in the book. He said that book sat there for about 2 or 3 months, and the $50 was still in there. I can't subscribe to that.
That's right.
But I swear, I ain't moving these books. And it's not because they're not good. And I see other independent, fabulous, wonderful, independent writers. But we'll go out here and we'll buy something from Amazon. We'll buy something from some other.
Some Uggs, some tennis shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm
clothes.
just right.
But we don't buy the books to provide our children with the knowledge that they need to make it in this world.
And representation.
Just changing you're right. Just changing the way that we think about things. If I put a picture of myself, and I'm looking sexy, like I do from time to time.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'll get 400 likes. But then I'll post a flyer or some information about trauma or some information about supporting each other, and I might get 20, maybe 30, pushing 50, no more than 100. Wake up. I just want to run through the world like in that movie. Spike Lee movie. When he was yelling, wake up. Yeah, right. It's like, when are we going to get it that if we support each other?
We're some of the biggest consumers, but we consume and we build communities in other people's community.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Other people's community.
Mondawmin is one of the largest grossing malls in the country.
Really?
Mondawmin.
That's shocking.
But when you look at the owners of the stores in Mondawmin, they don't look like who are patronizing it.
And they don't, and so I mean, there's so much stuff. It's so much stuff. But the thing is that I have decided, and that maybe it's with age or something. I'm just tired. You know what I mean? And I think that we have to really put our actions into words. You know what I mean? So I don't like you, so therefore I'm not gonna buy something from you because I don't like you. But this message that you're making, because yours, you're talking about relationship merger. We need that. We need that. We need families. We need our families to be strong. That's our backbone. That's our foundation, right? So we can do anything from that. That we can spring from that. But a lot of it has to do with well, what do you think that this person here? They don't even open their mouth when you get something from them. They don't even say thank you. You wind up saying thank you to them. But you rather not buy something from someone else. I'm telling you, I've met some fears. And it actually, I'm going to put the books out. I bought some like amazing books from independent authors, and the illustrations are just as vibrant, just as professional, and everything else. The content is fabulous. Just as some of these big houses out here, publishing houses out here. And let's not even think about, or you have a situation where, okay, we buying hair or something like that. We got to stop being dressed up shells. What's inside? What's inside? You know what I mean? You looking this way or whatever else, but then someone go to have a conversation with you, and you just looking at them like and blinking. We can hear the blinking going. You know what I mean? Because you don't have anything there. It doesn't have to be about this stuff. That may not be your interest, but educate yourself.
That's right.
And so when you have somebody young like that, the young brother that told me that's a business owner, he put $50 in there, and it was there for like almost 3 months. And he said, but I'll take your book and put it up there though. Now he gonna buy it. He'll take it. That's another thing too. I'm gonna support you if you give me something for free. Well, dang. nice and considerate of you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't do it. You know what I mean?
I can't
do it.
subscribe to that.
I can't.
I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah.
You know, the way that my mother raised us was that if you have in your power to help somebody else, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't Jesus do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even you talk about church. I had a church reach out to us. We was trying to raise rent for this young lady who had experienced an explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And the church reached out and she wanted to know all about information. Gave her all the information, and she said, okay, let me take this information to the pastor and I'm gonna call you back. So I'm explaining to you that this woman has been in an explosion. I'm explaining that her baby saw her mom run into a Russian building to help this elderly lady out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that this child saw the neighbor on fire, and you didn't even call me back to give me $1 after I gave you all the information.
Well,
Unacceptable.
yeah. I'm gonna tell you that I have, you know, I am trying to do a lot of different things, and I decided this month that I was gonna step back a little bit because I've sent about 2,000 people my press release about the, you know, about the book and what we're trying to get across, and most people have not responded back.
Well, guess what? How about just share my information?
I know.
How much does it cost to
It
share
is
my information
it's in
on
there.
social media
It's
so
in
some
there.
of your friends and family can even know?
Yep.
You know, once we can just change this way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
you
The
know, people
mentality.
are so, yes, that mentality is, you know, just about me and my household. And once we can change that, man, what a world this will be.
Mm-hmm.
It will be pleasing to God's eyes to see us come together as sisters and brothers. It's not about race, gender, anything. It's just about us supporting each other.
But I do think in terms of race and gender, in terms of us as Black women, we bad in a good way.
Not
And
bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
So if we were to put that energy the right way,
That's right.
but I see, and that's why, you know, not to go into it, that's why I have to back out, because I can't have relationships where there's competition in my relationship, there's jealousy in my relationship. I can deal with, you know, whomever out there, you know, Karen, Becky, or Shanika, and Taquana for that. But in my relationships, I'm not going to do that. So I'd rather not have it, because no matter what's going on for me, my relationship, I don't have a relationship, but I'm happy that you are going on 20 some blah 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 years, or somebody else I know 29 years, or I may not be able to have a baby, but you're pregnant. I'm not going to begrudge you because you're pregnant.
Exactly.
Be happy for people, because guess what? You get your blessings that
Your
way.
blessing is around the corner.
You get your blessings.
Yes.
It's on the other side. So
let me tell you, I always say it's a blessing to be a blessing. You know, God is so amazing. And if we just, you know, if we just love on each other and help to support each other, like I said, what a world this would be. Well, I hate to end the conversation because there's so much I wanted to talk about with, you know, with the unequal justice.
mm-hmm.
You know, it's supposed to, I think the pledge says justice for all, but is it really justice for all?
No, it's just us. And if we don't get that it's just us and start doing something within for just us, we won't be existing.
Well, I'll tell you, I have Clubhouse because I am an iPhone user.
Oh my goodness, me too.
And Clubhouse, it was a judge and some lawyers and some educated folk on there, and they was talking about you better get your guns, and I was just like so surprised, like at where the conversation was going. But they were like, get prepared, because the thing is not that you want to have to kill anybody, but you want to be able to protect yourself, because you don't know if the people that your tax dollars that's supposed to be here to protect you are going to protect you because half of them are on the wrong side of the fence.
You heard about the guy that was in the ethics and diversity or something like that.
The head,
Yeah,
he was the
head of it
chief of it.
for Baltimore City, and
And guess what?
20
They have
racist-
so many
Yep.
racist comments on his Facebook page and on other of his other social media. And my question
How
is,
that even
how did
allowed?
that happen? We're supposed to screen them. One of the things that I
Integrity
tell
too,
my
yeah.
youth when they're applying for jobs, clean up your social media. Make sure you're not using this. Does your email represent that you're looking for a job? Your email address. Like if I'm telling them this, how can someone of that magnitude be hired and not screened properly?
Because they're the ones who move the rulers, the ruler. So if it's this and we're here, then they're gonna move it up or move it back because it's determined by them. That's the power that they have, and it's not to see that power to disempower you. It's to see that power so you can be strategic in the way you move. You know, so.
Well, we can go on and on,
Yeah,
but our time is drawing near. We thank everybody for tuning in today. Make sure you share that button because it's not too late. They can go back and watch our rewind. This was a powerful conversation, and I would love to, continue it. So we definitely going to invite you back on the show again to come. So next time you come, you can tell us about all those books that you sold.
Yeah.
So I am challenging everyone out here that either you share this and, tell people about this book, whether you purchase the book yourself or whether you purchase it for foster care youth or children in a homeless shelter. But let's show Terry some support and show her that we can come together to do something because that's what it's about. They were able to come together and get their mob together. They said Trump people was sending out emails and phone call and telling people, come on up for that rally. That's what it's about, is being able to organize a group of people to move your agenda. Well, if you guys want to move my agenda is to support one another. So you can visit our online directory at www.ewbiradio.org. We have an online directory. We have some phenomenal sisters that do from one era to the next. So make sure that you, visit our website. Next week, we have one of our EWBI sisters on, Rhonda Clyburn with Legacy Love, and she's going to be talking about her scholarship. And she's going to award a scholarship to a young person right here on Empowered Women in Business International Radio. So I'm so excited. Before we go, I just want to say happy birthday to the station's owner, Cassandra Ferguson. And we left a little present here for you, Cassandra, just a little token of our love for you and all that you do for us and the radio station. And you want to share something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I didn't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to end it out by what I start the book off with. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
That's Frederick Douglass.
So let's keep that in mind. The quote that Nicole shared was the last page in my book, but this is the first. And it's not about my agenda or what I want. We all want to pay if our children are not protected and educated. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to keep it locked here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Empowered Women in Business International Radio. That's right, 7 o'clock right here. And thank you so much, Elevate Your Life radio station. And we're going to close like we always do. Individually, we can do great things, but collectively, we can forever change the world by Nick Mosby. Have a blessed week.